When night falls and the city lights are shown bright, with the country entirely asleep, then the work of the journalist begins. Our imagination goes wild, dreaming, thinking, and searching for that unique story idea. Visualizing and translating these ideas into action brings the story to life. And, like the fizz in our wine glasses, the story bubbles, finding space as headlines on front pages in the print, broadcast electronically, and posted on new media across the globe. And when it catches the attention of the powers that be, they act speedily. Join my able panelists and I as we speak to weightier issues from all quarters of the professional ladder, share our journalistic experiences, and offer insight beyond what is reported, all on one magazine platform, the Reporters Roundtable, every Thursday at this time on GBC24. The Reporters Roundtable, all angles, all sides. When night falls and the city lights are shown bright, with the country entirely asleep, then the work of the journalist begins. Our imagination goes wild, dreaming, thinking, and searching for that unique story idea. Visualizing and translating these ideas into action brings the story to life. And, like the fizz in our wine glasses, the story bubbles, finding space as headlines on front pages in the print, broadcast electronically, and posted on new media across the globe. And when it catches the attention of the powers that be, they act speedily. Join my able panelists and I as we speak to weightier issues from all quarters of the professional ladder, share our journalistic experiences, and offer insight beyond what is reported, all on one magazine platform, the Reporters Roundtable. Every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBC24. Watch a repeat on GBC24 on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. and on Tuesdays on Ghana Television from 3 to 5 p.m. The Reporters Roundtable, all angles, all sides. A happy new day to you all and welcome aboard a program proudly sponsored by ATL, bringing fabrics to life. The finishing of this ATL cloth is by Ashrifia Wear in Adentan, adjacent to the Goyle Filling Station. My name is Rebecca Ewa and the show is produced by Phyllis Kofi, Max Sisu and Celestine Avi. On our plate today are two major issues: the Kintampo Waterfall disaster and the need for safety audit of all tourist sites. Then we cross carpet to the Ghana Journalists Association and talk about the 2017 GJ election and the controversy that has come up. Follow us on Twitter at RoundtableGH or at Rebecca Ewa. My Rebecca is REBEKAH. Then you add the Ewa. Like our Facebook page and all other social media platforms of the program. You can join us or join in this conversation via text or WhatsApp on 02444 75422. And when the phone lines are activated later in the program, you can reach us on 0501 552 729. Please write the numbers down so I can hear from you. The number again is 0501 552 729. That is when the phone lines are activated. Stay with us. The program continues shortly, but first let's treat you to this video, and when we come back, we will tackle the vexed matters.
So this is Kintampo Waterfall, where the tragic event occurred on Sunday. It was a black Sunday for Bunahafu region. Okay, so we are at where exactly the main or the severe incident took place. A great many lost their lives through the stage. And this very tree, when it fell off, it pulled down many of those who were running up for safety. And this goes contrary to the belief that we were given earlier, and or the notion that were given earlier, that many of them died at the feet of the fall. It was actually here that a great many of those who came in here lost their lives. The tree fell off, pulling them down, and some of them were entangled by the tree, and so they lost their lives, unfortunately, unlike we were made to believe that most of them lost their lives at the feet of the fall. Now let's go to where the actual fall drops. Okay, so as we said, we are taking you down to the feet of the fall, and looking at the arrangements here, you could see that it was a very severe incident, so unfortunate. And the wind was very, very strong, we are told. Look at the fallen huge tree tells you what we were just discussing about detouring because of the fallen trees by the ignited by the strong wind. Okay, so we are finally here at the third stage, which is the final stage of the 3 stages that you go through at the Kintampo Waterfall. And there you go, the Pumpu River dropping into the pool of water. In your shot is the stump of the mighty tree that fell drop with a very strong gravity force, accompanied with a strong wind that caused the unfortunate incident somewhere around 3 p.m. on Sunday.
Right, so welcome back. So you saw Frida Aban, my colleague in the Bunahafu region, giving us what actually transpired at the fall on that Sunday. So what was supposed to be a learning tour to relax the minds of the students from the helly belly of classroom work turned out to be painstaking adventure, claiming the lives of close to 20 people and injuring several others. describe it, as Frida said in that report, as a Black Sunday, and you would not be far from right. The students were mostly from the Winchi Methodist Senior High School and the University of Energy and Natural Resources at Fiapre. Okay, so our correspondent, as you said, was shown or earlier told us that the students were swimming at the Kintampo waterfalls when a strong wind and thunderstorm caused a huge tree near the waterfall to be uprooted, killing or resulting in that tragic outcome. This incident is another classic example of how a poor national culture in health and safety is resulting in needless and preventable fatalities and injuries. Implementation and management of a proactive risk management system that identifies and mitigates hazards and risks are required to prevent such incidents. But unfortunately, that has not been the case in many of our public and private facilities. So the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, has called for safety audit at all tourism sites in the country. The waterfalls has since been shut down, and the Minister of Tourism, Madam Catherine Afeku, says this is to enable the Ghana Tourism Authority and other stakeholders embark on a comprehensive safety audit of the facility. Okay, so we here, the Reporters Roundtable, wish to express our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families of innocent students who went on an excursion at the Kintampo Waterfall on 19th March 2017. We wish the injured to a speedy recovery. Now, we will go to the phone lines, and Frida Aban was there with one of our other reporters, that is John Sam Arthur, also in the Bonahafu region, and we will find out on the latest happenings on this incident. Do we have John Arthur on the line?
Yes, I'm on the line.
Great. John, what has been the reaction so far of the residents in the Kintampo township after the fall was shut down? What have they been saying?
Well, a lot of people have been talking about the fact that this disaster has presented an opportunity to once and for all do something about, the proper development of the Kintampo waterfall. It's been on the lips of the locals forever because the politicians have been promising since time immemorial to upgrade the place. There's been talk of siting a hotel at the place, developing it to an international standard and that all. But it's just been lip service. And so the locals are saying that this disaster, no matter how negative it is, presents an opportunity for the place to be developed and properly structured once and for all. So basically, it's a very somber mood in Kintampo. Some of the funerals are going to be starting from tomorrow. I know the first funeral for one of the girls of Winchi Methodist Senior High School, Agatha Frimpong, will be happening tomorrow. So continuing from there, there's going to be a lot of funerals. So it's a very somber mood in Kintampo at this time.
Okay, talk of that. How about any news on the injured?
Yes, the only thing I can say for now is the fact that the Kintampo General Hospital finally discharged the last two people on admission there, from the victims of the Kintampo waterfall, the injured. The last two were discharged yesterday. So as I speak, there's no patient on admission at the Kintampo Government Hospital. The 14 others that were referred to the other facilities in Winchi, Techiman, Sunyani, and Kumasi are those that had really, really serious injuries. And so they are said to be stable and doing quite well. But at Kintampo, everybody has been discharged. Now it's left with the very serious cases at the Kumasi, Kofanoti Teaching Hospital, Sunyani Regional Hospital, and then the Techiman Holy Family Hospital. And at the Kofanoti Teaching Hospital, I think that's the serious case with a punctured lung, but basically they are all doing well. They've been stabilized, and hopefully the death toll will be added to.
Right, you have been at the site. In your own assessment, does the place meet international standards? The infrastructure at the place?
No, a very big resounding no. Because apart from some structures that were built that could serve as restaurants and a couple of sheds or summer hut, as we call it in Ghana, there's nothing else to talk about. At the base of the waterfall itself, there's a shed and a couple of urinals. And then somewhere in the late 80s or early 90s, PASEC, whilst constructing the Kintampo Tamale Highway built a stairway that has about 160 steps, from the top to the base of the waterfall. So basically, that is the only, development there, and that cannot be even Ghana standard, let alone international standard. So yes, to answer your question, there's nothing there that you can describe as being of international standard.
Right, but were the students taken around by any tour guide and educated on the do's and don'ts as far as the place is concerned? Did you have any information on that?
No, I doubt that. Because from personal experience, when the crowd is a weekend and such a big crowd at the fall, you hardly see the tour guide. But upon request, I know for a fact that upon request, there are tour guides that can take you around. Because most people just go there and then go straight to the third stage. That is where the main fall is. But when you submit yourself for a proper guided tour, they take you through 3 stages. The fall has a third stage, a second stage, and then finally the main fall. So if you have the opportunity of getting a tour guide to take you around, they tell you the history about the fall, the farmer that discovered it, the river that forms it, and all that. But as a rule, most people just enter the fall and then virtually they are on their own. After they pay for the ticket and enter, they are just virtually on their own. Nobody really gives them, an orientation of any sort or what to do in case of emergency or stuff like that. There's nothing like that.
Okay, but from what we watched, the video we watched, where these students were swimming, was it open to tourists?
Yes. That's the most popular place for a lot of people who want to have the feel of the waterfall falling on them, or they like to, splash around in the pool at the base of the fall. That's the most popular place. I personally don't know how they enjoy the fall hitting them, but the water, it feels like, piece of stone when it hits you. But for most people, they love it. So that is where most of the people die, because a very big stone, big tree fell, right in front of the fall where the people gather. So most of the time that place is very crowded, but there were more than one tree, more trees fell that day, so apart from those that were killed in front of the fall, there were other trees that fell around the place. Because when I went to visit the place, it's really bare, and it makes me fear for the future of the fall and the river, because such water bodies require trees around to help conserve them. But the place has become really bare after the devastating storm which uprooted so many trees. But so to answer your question, where they were swimming, it's allowed to be there. It's okay to be there.
Okay, before I let go of you, John, for the benefit of our viewers who haven't been to Kintampo before, can you give us a vivid description of the town Kintampo and which people are the residents in that town?
Yes, Kintampo is a very interesting town. It's the main junction between southern and northern Ghana, and it never sleeps, because of the transportation that is constantly coursing through the town. And it's very interesting because unlike other towns in Burkina Faso that has one chief, Kintampo has 3 chiefs. It has the Shemankuma Hene, who is like the representative of the Nkranza traditional area, of which Kintampo is part. And then you have the Nanakanyinama, who is the Wangara chief. But the Wangaras have lived for so long in Winchi and Kichimba, in Kintampo, that they now claim, ownership of the place. They claim that they were the group that settled there for the earliest. And so the Fanyinama also calls himself the Kintampo Hene, although he's a chief of the Wangara community. And there's a Mo Hene of Kintampo. So Kintampo is divided between these 3 chiefs, and there's always some kind of friction, So basically, Kintampo is populated by the Bonos who, owe allegiance to the Nkranza Hene, and then the Moos who, trace their history with their cousins from southern of the southern part of the northern region, where the Moos can also be found, and then also the Wangaras who settled in Kintampo centuries ago and has been there to this day. So you find all these groups, you know, in Kintampo, and it's also a very commercial place, and so you find people from all over Ghana virtually living there. And talking about the fall, unlike most other falls in Ghana that are very are located in remote places in the forest, the Kintampo Waterfall is right by the Kintampo Tamale Highway. Right. So it's very easy for people just driving by to see that, oh, that's the entrance to the Kintampo Waterfall. Why don't I go there and check it out? And that is what happened with the students from the UENR and then the Winchi Methodist Senior High. Kintampo Waterfall was not on the itinerary after visiting some, you know, tourist sites in the 3 northern regions. En route back home, they decided to just stop over at the fall. And when you enter, you see the structures I was talking about. That's a recent thing. There's a building that can be used as a restaurant or a receptive facility, but most of the time it's closed. It's not used for much until a holiday like Easter Monday, when there's a crowd and people will come and set up and sell drinks and stuff like that. But most of the time it's closed. And then there are a couple of summer huts. But then you get to the steps I was talking about, which takes you down to the fall. And there, apart from a shed and a urinal, there's nothing much apart from what God put there. And it is very interesting because unlike other falls in the country, the Kintampo Waterfall never dries up. Whether dry season, rainy season, the fall is always flowing. And according to the locals, the bigger the crowd at the fall, the more the water seems to course down. Wow. And it's such a very spectacular thing, you know. But basically, apart from what God put in, very little has been put in by management of the place, which most of the time is supposed to be handled by the Kintampo Municipal Assembly. But you know, in the wake of this disaster, we learned that a group believed to be invisible forces took it over, and after the elections, and they were controlling it when this disaster happened.
Okay, so, John.
In short, that's the Kintampo Waterfall for you.
Right. Kintampo must be a very interesting place. You should be expecting me there soon, John.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking to us. John Sam Atta is a regional correspondent in Bunoahafo. It is still the Reporters Roundtable sponsored by ATL, bringing fabrics to life. We'll go for a quick breather and we'll come back to the studios and introduce our guest.
My name is Rebecca Ewa. Keep watching the Reporters Roundtable with GBC24 this and every other Thursday.
All right, welcome back to the Reporters Roundtable. Now in the studio with me to do this discussion is Adib Sani. Adib is a security analyst and a journalist. Right. We will go on the phone lines and we will also speak to Samuel Kofi, who is the National Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professionals. And in here is Goyim Wole Enokumeko Bodo. He is a tourism analyst. Welcome. Mr. Bodo, do you have any Nigerian do you have any Nigerian siblings, or because Enokumeko is like
well, we are all Africans actually, but then Nigeria, they are all brothers and sisters. I'm a Ghanaian anyway. I was born and bred here in Ghana, from the Volta region. So the name Goyimola and Enokumeko are all ever names, right? So Goyimola meaning they are just boasting, and Enokumeko means I just laugh at them. And then my last name is Kwodo.
Wow. 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 Interesting. You know, we are in the Heritage Month, so explaining your name, it gives how important our names are in Ghana. But let's go to the issue on board. Adib, let me start with you. How safe are tourism sites or our tourist sites?
Well, as a country, we are sick, and I'm sure you would ask why I say so. But it's quite crisp and straightforward. I mean, without mincing words. We have a problem, an intrinsic problem for that matter. We love to talk, and we talk after such incidents happen. And within a few days, it becomes old news and we go back to our old ways. We have a problem with maintenance culture. I mean, this is not the first time such issues come up. On several occasions, we've even had people attacked by bees at the waterfalls. I have been there. And I have witnessed people attacked by bees. And what mechanisms have been put on the ground to prevent that from happening or perhaps even manage it, nobody knows. And we have many other tourist sites. I mean, this is not the first tourist accident we're recording in the country. Previously, we've had cases, just that the number of deaths or casualties has not been as high as this. And the problem is we always wait for such things to happen before we start running helter-skelter, looking for solutions left, right, center. Ghana is a blessed country. I have sat on, for courses with foreigners. As a matter of fact, the last course I attended at Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center, we were only 2 Ghanaians out of a class of about 30. And they all had wonderful, beautiful things to say about Ghana. I mean, you complain to them, then they go like, those are not challenges, those are not problems. I mean, come to my country and see what is happening there. We have the human resource. Our democracy is consolidated, so we have solid state institutions, so we can concentrate on other important areas. But like I always say, we have the institutions. We have the processes and procedures which are enshrined in our statutes, in our laws, but the problem is always got to do with attitude, with the human beings. I mean, we have so many clever people, so many intelligent people in the country that can put together a roadmap, a mechanism to ensure that the tourist sites in the country are very safe. Unfortunately, the level of commitment is always missing. So you don't have them bring their knowledge or whatever expertise it is to bear because of the lack of commitment. So this raises very legitimate concerns. It raises very legitimate questions. And I just so hope that this would not be the last of the discussion. We would continue talking about it, especially the media. You have a very important role to play in that regard. You would have to find out who is responsible for safety there at the various tourist sites. Are they doing their job? Do they have a safety protocol in place in case of an emergency? Because we always blame it on God. Oh, it's a disaster. No. It can be managed to a very large extent. The evacuation process, the first respondents, how quick are they to react to such scenarios? I was involved in an accident, and it was so bad that they had written me off. They thought I was gone. I was left there for some time, for a very long time. They had evacuated others to the hospital. They left me there. I don't know whether there was the first respondents. They were trained on how to fill my pulse to know if I were dead or alive. I don't know what the protocol is. When you come to an accident scene as an officer of the Ghana National Fire Service or any security or safety institution, what you are supposed to do. You see, so the procedures, I think we would have to look at it. We would have to make sure that the people who are put there and paid with you and I, our monies, that's the right thing. You get me? So let's keep talking about this so it doesn't just end here. The right things would have to be done. Attitudes would have to change. It goes beyond infrastructure. It's about the attitudes as well. I ply sometimes the Caswell routes, though there's an overpass or an overhead, there's still traffic, because the truck drivers especially, they are supposed to go down the overhead, but they take the other road users who are supposed to go over the, to go straight, to run some by coming into the inner lane, so they can dodge all the traffic on the outer lane that goes right. Then they come close to the turning before they turn. So they take everybody to ransom, and it still creates serious traffic despite the existence of the infrastructure. So attitudes will really have to change.
Yeah, but from your submission, you made mention of the fact that you have been to Kintampo. In your opinion, are there adequate security measures at the place? Such as, let's take for instance, swimming protocols, warning signs. Did you see anything of that sort?
Well, you have some few natives there who tell you, oh, where you're going is deep, so don't go there. But the last time I went there, trust me, there was no warning sign. So if you were not lucky to have a native there tell you where you are going is deep, then you might be in trouble if you don't know how to swim. Aside that, I didn't see any lifeguard around. Like when you go to Labadi Beach, you have lifeguards who are there to make sure nobody drowns. I didn't see anything of that nature. The security protocol there is almost non-existent. I mean, you have to make sure you protect your phone. When you take off your things, perhaps you would have to make someone, keep an eye on it whilst you go do your things.
Go swim.
Else, by the time you return, everything will be taken away from you. So a lot would have to be done. And the managers know the right thing. As to why that is not done, well, we are yet to find out.
Right, Mr. Kwedo. As a tourism analyst, looking at the incident of that just happened in Kintampo, how will this affect tourism promotion drive?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. Before I come to your question, I just want to say a little bit about the safety and the security measures that need to be at the place. From his submission, I learned there is virtually nothing there, which is very worrisome. This thing had happened at Kintampo. Let us not say it is unfortunate. I would say it is an act of God. But then again, I would say that this should serve as a wake-up call to all of us, especially those of us in the tourism industry. See, what safety measure do we put in place as far as our tourist sites are concerned? I think it actually behoves on the policymakers to come out with a structure so that we can have a monitoring eye on all the tourist sites. Whoever is manning that place should be guided by rules and regulations, so that there should be a governing body that will make sure that such rules are actually maintained and adhered to. I don't think we have anything of that sort. Perhaps we have it on the books, but we are not actually implementing them. So we need to be more serious. Say, how is this unfortunate thing happen affect the tourism sector? That's what we're talking about. Okay. I wouldn't say that it has too much effect to the point that people will not want to go to such places. I want to say that in fact we need to improve on our facilities. We've always taken things as is, that God has given us this, and then we use it that way without actually adding any value to it. We don't use our creative mind to put things and develop it and make it more presentable. I think before we started, we were talking about international standard. So let's first talk about national standard, Ghana standard. What is our standard? If we have things done properly, then we shouldn't even be referring to international standard. That standard should cut across the whole world, because tourism is not secluded to just one nation. So we should make sure that we have standard that is adhered to and that is across everybody. And Ghana, as we all know, God is so kind to us and to Africa as a whole. The resources that we have, you never see it anywhere. But unfortunately, while others are actually trying to come to Africa, Ghana in particular, we are still sleeping. We don't want to actually bring this up so that when people come in, they actually see what they imagine to say. But we are still relaxed and doing things anyhow. My brother talked about attitude.
Yeah.
That is the worst thing that is hurting the African and the Ghanaians in particular. Our attitude toward work. I don't know, when we are put to places to work, we think we are doing people a favor. Meanwhile, we are doing that to put butter and bread on table. But we are so careless. It is when these things happen, then we jump. It has happened, so we are talking about it. Like it readily say, within a week or two, we stop talking about it. It's gone. We only react as people. We never plan. So if we can plan and do things accordingly, it will minimize those things happening. This is a natural cause, but it can be lessened by our attitude and our actions that is placed on it. So it is absolutely necessary on us as people. We cannot just blame government or whatever. Okay? We are all in this boat together. So what can we contribute so that we can put the structures in place and make sure that they are actually adhered to and implemented so that these things do not happen again. And then the tourism sector, Ghana is just going up for quite some time, but we have little idea about what the tourism industry. Even now, we don't actually know the potential of this industry. Knowing that the tourism sector is the largest income earner, the largest employer the world over, but we do not have any idea at all. So we pay very, very little attention to this portion. But if we know that this is an industry that is actually going to take us from our economic woes, resolve our unemployment situation, then we pay particular attention to it. Those who are in government and setting policy must put their feet down and make sure they say, let's not talk about politics in this way, okay? Let's build the place up. People are yearning to come to Africa. People are yearning to come to Ghana in particular because Ghana is the center of the world. And we have all the things there is that attract people to come in. But we are sleeping. So it is not a discouragement, but rather it's giving us the opportunity that God is talking to us.
To make things right.
To make things right. And then from now on, let us all pledge that every tourist sector will do everything possible. Those who are local around it, keep the place clean, and do all kinds of things. That should be a duty on all of us, so that we can keep the place clean.
Yeah, in the Ghana Tourist Board, is it still a board or an authority?
Yes, it's now an authority.
An authority, good. They have officers who go around to facilities like hotels, guest houses to inspect, safety and all that. But as to how effective and efficient it is with the major tourist sites is what I'm yet to know. Because I know within the authority they have some safety experts who are supposed to go around the various tourist sites to make sure the right thing is done. They even make recommendations, and the recommendations are acted upon. So all of these are questions we should ask, especially as the media. We should go beyond the headlines and get to the nitty-gritties, the intricacies of the matter. So if you are sleeping on the job, then we just ask you to go home and sleep. We just ask you to go home and sleep for as long as you want. So the right people with the right attitudes will be put at the right place to do the job. Because I mean, these are the same Ghanaians who are abroad, they are in Western countries and they do the right thing. If they are drivers, they obey the traffic rules and all that.
Because the laws work. If you are not doing the right thing, you'll be sanctioned.
The fact is, in Ghana, we have laws to take care of almost every aspect of our lives. Unfortunately, they don't bite. And I don't blame it on the law. It's not the law. It's the human beings who are supposed to enforce the law. That is the problem. So it all boils down to attitude. The right thing would have to be done. And also, we have a tendency to, push the blame or deflect the blame from us when the wrong things are done. So I'm sure we are yet to come to it. People putting the blame on invisible forces and all that. Right? We are yet to come to that.
You can tackle it.
Yeah, because when the issue of the invisible forces taking over the place and so the accidents, I was quite gobsmacked because I had so many questions lingering all over my mind. Because in the past, even in Ghana, we have had people doing the wrong things and, you know, unfortunate things happening, and they try to deflect the blame to others. That is not to rationalize the actions of and inactions of some of the invisible forces in the past, especially with the taking over of government state facilities and even the Temaside of the toll booth on the motorway. But the question is, those who were in charge before the so-called invisible, I mean, it is still alleged because I'm yet to ascertain whether indeed they were in charge of the accounts, the safety, they were in charge of the touring, you know, the tour guides and all that, because I'm wondering how quick the invisible forces would have been able to school themselves on the waterfalls before taking people round. Whether the management before the takeover by the invisible forces had done any safety audits of the sites. Okay, so because of the takeover of the invisible forces, they were not able to implement whatever mechanisms they had to do. Okay. Secondly, I wanted to know whether if the invisible forces had not taken over the place, management had a plan or a roadmap towards ensuring that the safety mechanisms would be put there to forestall any such activity happening. Because this is the management that has been in operation for decades before the alleged takeover by the invisible forces. When we do this, we will be able to better appreciate the situation and would be able to objectively make or pass judgments, then the right thing would be done. I am personally very measured, very circumspect in reacting to what is seeming to be like a politicization of what is going on. You see, and I don't think this is the right time to politicize this issue. As Ghanaians, we must be very dispassionate about issues of this nature, because we're talking about the country, we're not talking about NDC and PP. And so it is very always helpful to appreciate or understand the facts of the matter before passing judgment. But that notwithstanding, if anybody is found culpable, the person should be made to face the full rigors of the law.
Mr. Kwedo, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, in fact, we are, like Radil said, we always push blames. We are quick to say, oh, this person does it, or complain about unnecessary things, whatever. This, I wouldn't say that it is the cause of invisible forces. Is that how you call it? Whatever.
Invisible forces.
Looking at the pictures shown, you can even tell that that place has been neglected for far too long. You can even see that some of the trees hanging, the roots are even showing up. Anything at all can happen at any time. So to push the blame that it's because somebody has taken over and that's why this happened, I find it very difficult to grapple with it. Rather, as a writer said, let's assess what is happening. Let's check on our attitude. Let's put the structures in place so that we make sure that such places are safe. If we're going to have periodic check, maybe monthly, every month we should go to all the sites, check what is happening, what can be corrected, and what have you. Then we can move forward. But when things happen and we keep on blaming people, let us put politics out of this.
Right. Let's bring in Samuel Kofi to join in our conversation. He is the National Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professionals, and they actually issued a press statement. Hello, Mr. Kofi.
Hello.
I hope you've been following our conversation. Good morning.
Good morning. Not really. I'm not.
Right. But you issued a press release on the latest happenings as far as the Kintampo Waterfall disaster is concerned. Let's hear you on that. What actually were you putting out, and what recommendations were in there?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to all your listeners. I think from our press release, basically we are saying that disasters like this are preventable. We've had a number of these in the past, and it looks as if we are not learning out of these experiences. And because of that, we keep having it. Today is this, tomorrow is that. We are saying events like this can be prevented. They don't just happen. They are caused. They are reasons why such disasters are happening. Let's try to understand the reasons. Let's deal with them. And by doing that, we will prevent future occurrences. But if we don't do anything about it, if we don't put the necessary infrastructures in place, then we'll keep having this and we'll keep talking about these disasters and how do you call it, unnecessary loss of lives and property and damage to the environment. And in our press release, we made some key recommendations, 6 of them. Number one, when an event like this happens, you want to really understand what happened. And it takes scientific investigation to really understand what went wrong. Unfortunately, in the past, we've had similar incidents, but we don't get to hear about the investigations. Nobody hears about the reports, the lessons learned, and what the authorities are doing. So if we investigate and do a good job, and the report must be released into the public domain. We must know what went wrong. It is our right to know what went wrong with the Melcombe disaster, what went wrong with the gas explosions that we've had. We have to know, and more importantly, the lessons that we have learned and the actions we are implementing. We have to know. But we've realized that out of all these incidents, none of those investigation reports have been made public document or have been shared. And the common causes, the underlying causes of this incident are the same. They are a reflection of a poor national safety culture. And it's the same fundamental cause that brought about this Kintampo incident. You understand? So somebody says, oh, it was force majeure. It was a windstorm and then a tree went down. But we know trees don't just fall. Trees don't just fall. So if trees are falling and killing people, there are reasons. What are the reasons? We must find the reasons. We have roots of the tree. Maybe it was shallow. Part of it was rotting. Why did nobody pick up this huge tree that was standing with half of the roots gone or halfway rotting? Why wasn't it picked up? What sort of inspection systems are there? What sort of arrangements are in place? We've seen the emergency response. And the way we responded to this incident is the way we have always been responding to incidents. And we are saying the number of deaths could have been less if the response was appropriate. We responded wrongly. You see people lying on the floor with branches of wood on them. That is not how you respond to the injured. The way they handle people. If somebody had a spine problem because the person was hit by a branch of a tree, actually the way we responded was the person, because see people just somebody holding the hand, somebody holding the leg and pulling. You don't respond to a spine injury like that. You kill the person in the next 5 minutes. So we are saying that even the response, the way we handled the people, the way we treated them was quite unprofessional and not the right way. So we must learn. Why is it that our emergency response, they respond the same way all the time? And we are declaring people dead at the scene and not rushing them to the hospital for medical professionals to do the pronouncement. But at the scene, we observe somebody being motionless, breathless. Whether the person is in coma or not, we say because we are not seeing that they are breathing, we declare them dead and we put branches of trees on them. And I've witnessed an incident where people were declared dead on the accident scene. 5 of them, they were taken to hospital when we got there, and eventually the doctors, 3 of them came back to life. So they were not actually dead. But people have pronounced them dead at the scene, and nobody was attending to them. We put them at the back of pickups, and then we pile them up. We are saying this is a poor national culture. This is wrong. And we, as a citizen, we must know why we keep experiencing this same, we keep responding this same way. Again, we are saying public places or public sites must have safety systems, safety arrangements, so that when I go to such place, it's not free. I pay. When I pay in my fee, there's supposed to be a component that guarantees my safety and my security. So there must be an arrangement in such places that assures my safety and guarantees and protects me. It doesn't look like we have such arrangement in our public places. For instance, nothing shows that Kintampo Waterfall had an arrangement for emergency response. Nothing shows that they had an arrangement where people have been trained to provide appropriate first aid. Nothing shows that there were an inspection system that were supposed to pick sources of harm, trees that were rotting, things that could cause harm. Nothing shows that, at least by what we have seen. So we are actually asking that let's learn from this event. Let us not say, oh, it happened because somebody. We are not actually blaming an individual. We are blaming the system. These are systemic failures. What we are seeing are just symptoms of a systemic failure. So let's learn from it, and out of it, let's do our best to prevent this unnecessary loss to individuals. It's quite painful. I mean, can you imagine your son, your daughter goes to school, and the next moment you have a call, and the call says your son is dead. Why? Because a tree fell on the person. Why? Because it was raining or there was a rainstorm. What is the procedure for adverse weather? There's something called adverse weather procedure or inclement weather procedure. When there is a windstorm, when you have excessive lightning and thunder, what is the procedure for such a public place? Do we evacuate people to a safe place, or we allow them to stay there until the weather causes harm? And this is what safety is about. It's about being proactive. It's about anticipating the risk and the issues and mitigating them. It is not about being reactive, waiting for somebody to die, somebody to be harmed, and then doing something later. So basically, that is our statement, what we are saying.
Okay, but do you have these safety practitioners with which you are a part of? Do your members assist the fire service or the people who see to issues of this sort when it happens?
Oh, sure. Just 3 weeks ago in Takwa, for instance, our members, we had a chapter, the Takwa chapter went to the GPRTU stations. We were doing free education service. We go to universities, we go to the campuses, we do education. We have programs to help because it's part of our social responsibility. But the problem is, I mean, there are some institutions that are not opening up. They are not just opening up because they think, oh, this is our work, this is what we do, and we know our work best. But we are saying, look, safety is a specialist job. So if you are not a safety expert, there are things that you will not see. So let's work together. Some institutions have been quite, how they call it, opening, but there are a couple that are not opening up. But the only thing we do is now awareness sessions, trying to raise awareness, so that together we understand the issues and we act.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kofi.
Thank you. You are very welcome.
Mr. Samuel Kofi is the National Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professional, GBC, and he was giving us how important safety and health tips are to our tourism. And do you agree with majority of the things that he put up?
Well, he is quite on point. What he said is very relevant, and if we can all adhere to it and make sure things are done. This thing happened. I will also commend the Vice President and then the Tourism Minister for actually going to the place and trying to come out with some plans as to what needs to be done in order not to see this situation again. I hope and pray that all those plans are implemented. And then and I pray that where policies can be put in place so that the Ghana Tourism Authority alongside with the Ministry of Tourism put these policies in place so that those sites, the tourist sites, can actually meet the standards that we need and make sure that they monitor. We're not saying that they should go there physically and do the work. Let the private people take it over, but let be the eye to make sure that the right things are done, and then we have a safe environment to operate.
Well,
okay.
He said something that captured my attention. I mean, safety is about being proactive, anticipating the risk, rather than being a firefighter, rather than being reactionary. Like I indicated before, we always calm our nerves and fold our arms when the wrong thing, incidents of this nature happen. Then we start going hyper and trying to find answers to what really caused it. I remember clearly some few weeks ago I went to an organization with a security infrastructure proposal, and the head of the institutions told me categorically that security is not really a priority here, and they didn't factor it in their budgets. So I asked, so it's not a priority today, so you're waiting for the wrong thing to happen, then it becomes a priority? No, the right structures would have to be in place. The people put at the right places would have to do the right thing, you see. So like I indicated also before, the organizations charged with ensuring safety at these venues should be up and doing. They should institute, even if it means legislations. I know there are a number of legislations out there that would require them to, without any bureaucratic process, penalize, you get, those who are thought to have not taken safety issues seriously at these tourist sites. Most of the monies they make is internally generated, and they use it. I'm sure, some governments organize, some state institutions, when you generate income internally, you would have to make some available to the central government. I don't know of
the
processes involved, but that notwithstanding, even if it means them paying fines, the officers in charge penalized or disciplined, I think that would serve as a disincentive to reckless officers, and also serve as a motivation to people doing the right thing to keep doing it more.
All right, Mr. Kwedo, I'll come back to you and we'll talk generally about accessibility, our road networks, as far as our tourist sites are concerned, and we'll look at medical facilities in and around those areas. But first, let me take some messages from our viewers, then I'll come back to you on that. This one says, I'm highly disappointed at our leaders. Wow. I'm highly disappointed in some of our leaders who politicize the unfortunate happening at Kintampo Waterfalls. It's high time we stop this. To me, any politician who attributes death to someone is mentally ill. Wow, that's a blatant one. This one is from Enoch Jakon from Sakumono. Enoch, thank you. Government workers are like that. That I don't care attitude should stop because it is not good. We always look up to the government for everything to be done right, which is very wrong. Our attitude is very key. Louisa Angela sent that one. This one says, hi, this is a very good program, and our authorities should be up and arms in doing the right thing. We shouldn't wait for such things to happen before we run helter-skelter. Unfortunately, you didn't add your name, but I appreciate the test. Oh, let's take another one. And this one says, hi, my dear. It's very good that you are discussing these issues. We are tired of the politicians saying one thing and doing another. This is the time they have to promote our tourism sector and make it work, because tourism can rake in a lot of money for Ghana. It is just that we are not averting our minds to the issues and also not tackling tourism as a business venture. We should look at it again. Good point there, but no name. Okay. Let me go further. This one says, good morning, good show. That is all you sent. Your name. Please add your name and let's know where you are sending the messages from. This one says, I am an engineer and I'm watching this program, and I guess it is the right program at the right time to elicit the right answers for the authorities that be to
to act on it speedily. It rhymes for me though. Your name also was not mentioned. I have quite a number of the messages in here. This one says, please, if you want to profit from our tourism ventures or sites, then we have to take keen notice of safety, and we have to ensure that we audit everything so well so that people are not, people are not affected in instances like this. Okay. No name. Plenty messages. Good morning, and thank you for discussing this. Promoting the tourism sector should be an agenda of the president, the incumbent president, because tourism has a lot to offer Ghana, and we need to check all these things so that these unfortunate incidents do not happen again. You remember what happened at the Canopy Walkway in the Eastern region. Which Canopy Walkway is that?
I think there was a similar.
I think in the Achim area, yeah, okay. Okay, so this is a very good program. I'm watching you live from my office. Kudos to your team. Say hi to Adeb and Mr. Kodo. Okay, they are here. Your name, you just added KEM Consult. Okay, that's a promotional one. This one says, okay, the tourism sector, yes, we need to do a quick audit because we can't continue to lose lives. Great. Right. Okay, so I have a number of them. Thank you very much. Let's take the final one on this so that we wrap up. We talked about accessibility and medical facilities in and around these areas.
Yeah. In fact, the road network is something very, very important in any development. For us to come up, the road infrastructure is number one, whether we like it or not. Because without the road, you cannot get to it. The food cannot be at the table. And then the road network to our tourist sites is not the best. Now we are having major roads being built, but to the site, they are so horrible. So we need to work on that seriously. And that's why I keep on calling that if we come out with a structure, a policy, the government come with a policy, and we make sure those things are done. And then medical facility. In fact, every tourist site should have some medical equipment or whatever around the place, because anything at all can happen. At least when something happens, we should have some first aid facilities over there before anything at all. But if you go to our site now, you might not even see paracetamol, that kind of thing, which is sad. So it is very, very important that in our policy makeup, let's sit down and consult. The government, we always say the government. There are people out there, call them. Let's all come together. It is not a political thing. Let's come together and then put the policies in place so that we can actually promote our tourism sector. The tourism and the hospitality industry is the largest income earner, the largest employer. So what are we doing? Government, please, let's come together. Every Ghanaian, every African, we need to promote Ghana, we need to promote Africa. So,
right, Adam, let me take your thoughts on how we can address hazards and improve the culture of prevention in Ghana.
I remember something. I was on a flight with an old lady, and the flight, procedure, where in case of an issue on board or in case the plane crashes, what to do. And she was so livid about it. She was like, are they praying to God the plane crashes? She wasn't so comfortable about that. I mean, the same way, at home, I tell my wife, in case we are attacked, I want you to pick the children and enter this corner. And she was like, no, are you praying to God? No, in the name of Allah, it will not happen. I'm like, no, what if it happens? You see, so it's always very important you preempt. There's this international organization that operates in Ghana, okay? And one day, one of the drivers picked some workers on the hatch of the pickup and entered the yard. One of the expatriates, the supervisor, saw what happened, and that day, the driver was fired. So, the Ghanaian workers approached the supervisor. Oh, in Ghana, it's normal for people to sit in the hatch of a pickup. I was like, no. Safety, we cannot compromise on safety, and it is the wrong thing to do. The fact that it is right, I mean, it is a Ghanaian culture doesn't mean it is the right thing. So we have to take issues of safety very serious, put safety aside, issues, it raises the broader debate over how we take care of our tourist sites. When you go to the surrogate slave markets, you see the shackles that are all worn out. We've not even painted it or coated it with some chemical agents to prevent it from wearing out. I mean, there will be a day to come, it will not be in existence, and our history might be rewritten by someone comfortably in his office. You see. So it's very important we take issues of this nature very seriously and put the right people and the right mechanisms in place.
Right, thank you very much. Let me take this last one. This one says, hi, please take note, the safety measures are mostly needed at all tourist areas. Please add your name and let us know where you're sending these messages from. Thank you very much. Adib Sani is a security analyst and a journalist, and Mr. Goyimole Enokomeko Bodo is a tourism analyst. We were joined via phone with Mr. Samuel Kofi, who is the National Vice President of the Ghana Institute of Safety and Environmental Professionals. My cloth is provided by ATL, headquartered in Ghana opposite Swansea Shopping Arcade, and beautifully designed by Ashrifia, where when the show returns, we will touch on matters of the Ghana Journalists Association. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
My name is Rebecca Ewa. Keep watching the Reporters Roundtable on GBC24 this and every other Thursday. When night falls and the city lights are shown bright, with the country entirely asleep, then the work of the journalist begins. Our imagination goes wild, dreaming, thinking, and searching for that unique story idea. Visualizing and translating these ideas into action brings the story to life. And, like the fizz in our wine glasses, the story bubbles, finding space as headlines on front pages in the print, broadcast electronically, and posted on new media across the globe. And when it catches the attention of the powers that be, they act speedily. Join my able panelists and I as we speak to weightier issues from all quarters of the professional ladder, share our journalistic experiences, and offer insight beyond what is reported, all on one magazine platform, the Reporters Roundtable. Every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBC24. Watch a repeat on GBC24 on Sundays from 4 to 6 p.m. and on Tuesdays on Ghana Television from 3 to 5 p.m. The Reporters Roundtable. All angles, all sides. The stories from all angles and from all sides. Now, founded in 1949, the Ghana Journalists Association, GJA, has become the umbrella organization representing Ghanaian journalists. Registered as a professional association and listed as one of several bodies on the board of National Media Commission, the GJA defends press freedom and creates solidarity among Ghanaian journalists and with other journalists, both in Ghana and abroad. However, over the years, the GJA has come under several criticism over its role in standing out for the journalists. Many see the GJA only as an award organizing organization which comes to the limelight when it is time for GJA awards. The criticism is that the GJA has failed to defend journalists facing poor conditions of service in their various institutions. Issues have also been raised as to who is a journalist, and many say the GJA should have come out with a clear definition of who qualifies to be called a journalist. Another criticism is that the GJA's handling of assaults on journalists resulting in recorders and other gadgets being smashed by security officers and people in authority is appalling. As the national executives of the Ghana Journalists Association, GJA, set March 31, 2017 as a date for elections for both national and regional branch executives, the aspiring candidates have been crisscrossing the country, canvassing for votes. However, the election has not been without controversy, following the disqualification of one of the presidential aspirant, Mr. Lloyd Evans. Mr. Evans' campaign team has threatened court action, accusing the current executives of manipulating the process to favor one person. But the question that many in the inky fraternity are asking is, what new will those as the incumbent Affail Monney, Johnnie Aryeetey, vying for the position as president of the GJA have to offer? And what can they do to make the association more attractive? Right, so we will go on the lines and talk to Dr. Mesan Maugbe. He is a media analyst, and we will find out from him his take or assessment of how GJA has been so far. Hello, Doc. Dr. Maugbe.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Good to have you on the line.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Right, how would you assess the performance of the GJA over the years?
Thank you very much. When you're talking of the performance of GJA, it will be pluses and minuses. In terms of pluses, GJA has continued to stand as the umbrella body for journalists in this country. But in terms of their activities in relation to the well-being of journalists hasn't been very, I wouldn't rate them so high. And then also in terms of standards that they should be championing hasn't been very effective. But as you rightly said in your intro, GJA is more seen in the mirror of public eye when it comes to the award. I think that has been the main flagship. But if you look at even the current reportage on the so-called or the alleged suicide, I was expecting GJA by now to have even, make a statement on in terms of how the reportage has been done so far. GJA rating them, it's pluses and minuses. But notwithstanding, it's worth having GJA in the country.
So what institutional reforms would you like to see the GJA embark on to transform the body?
Yeah, I think the first thing I would like GJA to do is I would recommend there should be a policy in relating to the welfare of journalists in this country. It hasn't been very attractive, so to say. I think GJA has to champion that cause. I know it comes with economic of scale management, but GJA should be seen championing such a path for journalists in this country. And also the protection of journalists. There have been various assaults on journalists, and that is only when you see GJA perhaps making a statement. But do we have a policy? There should be a policy framework within which organizations and the nation should be aware as to how to manage and to relate to journalists, but not to take journalists for granted. That is another aspect. And then also coming to when it comes to GJ as a body, I don't know what sort of constitutional framework they have, but it seems anytime there's GJ election, we seem to go through some form of confusion, so to say, to put it mildly, where people that we all know or seem to be known journalists are either disqualified or all those sort of things. And I think that the way forward, GJ during election time should be able to perhaps, as journalists and as media people, to put up a list as to those who qualify and those who are in good standing. All these things needs to be named to the public. But the main aspect, or an area that I would like GJ to delve in, is standard. Standard is falling drastically in this country when it comes to media reporting. One aspect is business reporting in this country. Business reporting in Ghana has been reduced to event reporting, business event reporting, and that is very worrying. You can't have business reportage that is devoid of references or referencing to business analysts, financial analysts. You don't get that in our business reportage. So the question is, how can investors use business reporting to make critical decisions? Journalists are there, or business journalists are supposed to play the role between the corporate and investors. But it seems journalists are rather playing the role of extended corporate PR agents for business entities in this country, and that should not be the case. And then when it comes to other reporting, for instance, disaster reporting, the Ghanaian journalists are not doing well at all. For instance, how can you have a headline saying someone has committed suicide, and in the same story, you read an aspect saying that, however, the cause of death is unknown? How can we have such a standard? How can we have such way of reporting? And I think this is where I would like GJ to do more. GJ should concentrate more on standardized content dissemination and move away a bit from the excessive award.
Right. You know, the association goes to the polls by 31st. What will be the qualities that voters should look out for once they go out to cast their ballot?
In fact, I wouldn't say it's in the... when you look at, for instance, the people who are standing, even Lloyd, it's rather unfortunate that he's been disqualified. But I think he has the elements to actually deliver. But the question is, being a president of GJ is not just that. But how can the president drive the GJ on a new path? The new path that we're discussing now. You know, I think the general public wants to see certain new trajectory in how content are being evolved and packaged and disseminated. And I think that each of these candidates are capable of doing that. Perhaps they just need to go back to the round table and find out how standards, the bar of standards in media reportage could be raised in this country.
Right, there are those calling for, let me say, the reading of so-called charlatans, quote unquote, in the media. Those we call, we refer to as paparazzis in our midst. Does the association have that capacity to do that, or the willpower to do that?
No, I think so. That is why in the 21st century, and Ghana as a country has come a long way, that GJ has found itself. If you look at how they fought, the media has fought for democratic dispensation platform in this country. I think they have come a long way, that they have the muscle now actually to put some of these things forward, to come up with policies, who qualifies to be a member, you know, who, of course, you also need to take into consideration citizen journalism. We have citizen journalists. Are they also journalists? So one has to draw a clear line as to who a journalist is. Within that is in the context of GJA. And we need to look at that because in today's global news dissemination, citizen journalists are equally very, very important, and they are even effecting greater change most of the time than even traditional journalists as you see them. So these are areas where I think GJA needs to critically look at.
Great. Dr. Maogbe, thank you so much. We are grateful for your time.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Right. It is still the conversation on the GJA, and we will be getting some more people on the line. There has been a number of issues cropping up as far as our elections are concerned. Some journalists have also raised some concerns, and one of the key people in that write-up is Charles Benoni Okai. He is a renowned journalist, and together with some colleagues, they have written to the adjudication body of the GJA elections so that they are questioning the legality of decisions by the current GJA executives as far as the elections are concerned. I have Charles Benoni Okai on the line. Charlie.
Hi.
Yes, good to have you on the Reporters Roundtable.
Yeah.
Good to have you on the Reporters Roundtable. What actually informed this decision?
Thank you very much.
What actually informed this decision in disputing the mandate of the GJA executives?
Oh, actually, upon an assessment between my colleague, whom we jointly signed the petition with, Enoch Dafa Frimpong, we observed that there are some breaches with as far as our constitution is concerned. And that has to do with the mandate of the current executive. Now, we know that they were supposed to have ended their tenure in March 2016. And we had no information about what is going to happen next, whether there will be an election to get a new executive or not. Until sometime in August, there was an emergency meeting called, and we don't even know what the outcome was. You know, so we asked that even if they had the mandate of the people, that those who were present at the
emergency
the so-called emergency meeting, if they had that mandate between March when their term ended and that August, who gave them the authority to be there? If your term of office is ended, you don't wait till after 4 or 5 months before you organize, an emergency meeting. So when your term of office ended, who gave you that mandate to even organize that emergency meeting? So these are some of the questions. It's a clear breach of the Constitution. You see, if there are gaps in the Constitution, as executives, they needed to, get it resolved. But you wait a time when you think you have to do something, and then you come and tell people, give an excuse that because of the general election. What has the general election got to do with our election? If there is going to be a national election, what has that got to do with our election as GBA? If they had done it in March, the political parties were not active at that time. So there's some kind of breach. So it follows to they are appointing the accreditation committee and the other committees that they set up. The Constitution clearly states a lot of, makes it clear in different articles, that you need 3 months. This accreditation committee, it should have been in place 3 months before the election. If you have any executive there, ask whether they did that. They didn't comply with that. So all we are saying is, we report some of these things when things go wrong with the national executive, that is the government. So in our own house, we have to have it clean.
Right.
So what action is, we should have an interim management to handle this, so that they step aside. Then we handle and get the process go smoothly.
Okay, so have you filed a petition, and who received it?
We filed a petition. We were directed to send it to the press house, the press center. We have sent it there, and we received. And I got one of the committee members told me that it will receive, and they are working on it. They will get the right response.
if you say committee, one of the committee members, which particular committee member?
The adjudication committee.
Okay, so do you know the members and who exactly received it?
I know only one member. I don't want to mention it, then maybe they may change it.
Okay. All right.
Sure.
All right. So, what would be your next course of action should you not get any favorable response from there?
Oh, we have a lot of options. I think we'll keep that to our chest. As and when we get the response from them, we'll take the next line of action.
All right. Mr. Benoni Okai, thank you very much for adhering to our call.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And still on these GJA matters, Reporters Roundtable, we've been in constant talk with the incumbent president, Mr. Roland Affail Monney, and we wanted him to come on the program, but unfortunately he's not been able to be here. I also personally contacted Mr. Benedict Asoro, the chairman of the GJA election committee. And what we resolved was that, look, Mr. Asoro told me they are not going to comment on any of the issues, but they'll want to resolve it to the letter before they come out to the media, and actually told me that I can put it on air. But as to how expedient they are going to tackle the issues, that he failed to say. So it is not as though we haven't contacted the GJA. We've done every other effort to contact all the prominent people in there so that we can also hear from their side, because the rumor mongering is too much as far as the elections are concerned, and I guess this time around the stakes are very high, so people are concerned. So I wanted them to clarify, but as it is, they have said that they cannot comment. But we'll go to the phone lines again. There are a number of people who have raised issues. One of such is the campaign team of Johnnie Aryeetey, and the campaign manager who actually wrote that petition is Nuto Bibini Nuto. We'll get Nuto on the line to clarify issues. But let me come to the studio, and I'm in here still with Adib, who is also a journalist. And let me find out from all the issues that are cropping up. And we had Dr. Mesan Maugbe on the assessment of the GJA. What would you have to say to it, tying it in with our elections, which comes off shortly?
Well, first of all, it is important to recognize the intrinsic value of journalists in our democratic dispensation.
Okay, hold on, Ade, for me. We are told that we have Mr. Bwahin Asamoah. Mr. Bwahin Asamoah is the campaign manager for Team Lloyd. And we know that Team Lloyd have been, Mr. Lloyd Evans have been disqualified by the election committee of the GJA. Mr. Asamoah, welcome to the Reporters Roundtable.
Thank you.
Right, what has been your reaction to the news of the disqualification of your candidate?
Well, I believe if you have watched the media space, we issued a statement immediately and said that our candidate will be on the ballot paper March 1st. Because we have reason to believe that the election committee had not acted in the constitution to disqualify him. Because, I mean, clearly, the rules of engagement by the GJA constitution were quite clear. And let me avail your mind to what happened on January 30th. A statement issued by the GJA itself said that all members who wishing to contest for the election by 27th of February be paid as members. Now, our candidate paid on February 4th. How does it then now become an issue that he was not in good standing after February 4th, when the GJA itself had issued a statement to that effect that everybody who is wishing to contest must pay up before 27th of February. And so clearly, we think that could not have been the case, and so we are contesting it because we think that the election committee have not acted within the very same rules and regulations they claim to be using. You get the point I'm saying? And so that's the issue now. We are contesting. As we speak now, we have sent our petition to the Election Dispute adjudication board or committee, we are yet to hear from them. So we are standing by, keeping our fingers crossed, and they will take it from there.
Okay, but what other issues of illegality have you raised?
Yes, because the rules of engagement again, according to the GJA Constitution itself, says that the election committee, the election education committee, must be in place 30 or 90 before the election. Now, in the January 30th press release issued by the press, by the GJA itself, and signed by the head, at the last paragraph, it says that the election committee or the election adjudication committee will be announced soon. Now, if you consider that 30 days, 30th of January, which is supposed that they should announce that committee on the 1st of January. If you write a press statement and say that by 30th January, you are yet to even establish that committee, you have clearly flouted the rules of engagement.
All right. So what are you praying? What are you praying the committee to do?
What? Your question is?
What are you praying the committee? What remedies are you looking forward to getting?
Oh, sure. Our remedy is simple. That Lord has never flouted the constitution to their own rules and regulations. That members in good standing must be able to say by the 27th of February. Our candidate said on the 14th of February. And so the issue about the fact that he's not paying dues in good time or was caused by the nature of the rule is bogus. And so that's what we are looking to reverse.
Right. So should we look forward to seeing your candidates back in the race?
And everybody should vote for Lloyd Evans because he represents a new vision and a new direction and will carry forward this GCA to the next level.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vying, as someone.
Thank you for having me.
Great, great. The issues are many, right? Okay.
It's normal. It's a human institution, and it's a very important institution for that matter. So it's expected that when it's time for elections of this nature, we might have one issue after another coming up. But of course, it's a clear message, it's a clear sign. You know, the right people would have to be put at the right place, like I always say, and the right things would have to be done. But this is all in line with the important role journalists have to play in our democratic dispensation. Since the setting in of the Fourth Republic, our democracy has since become so consolidated. It has become so entrenched, and the contribution of journalists to that cannot be overemphasized. That is why all that is happening is of grave concern to all Ghanaians, and everybody's eyes is on the GJE elections. So it is my wish and prayer that they sort out all the pending issues, and in the end we would have people in a very transparent manner elected to occupy the high office. So they will be able to efficiently and effectively sanitize the media landscape. From your inception, introduction and all that, it was all focused on crimes perpetrated against journalists. How about the crimes journalists perpetrate against others, especially in the wake of the proliferation of thousands of radio and TV stations, some of which are aligned to individuals, others to political parties, and with all, sometimes, excuse me to say, the gibberish that comes off of there. And we've also had issues relating to libelous, without facts, without evidence, statements, you know, or stories about innocent people out there.
Hold it right there, Sunny. Sunny, hold it. I'll come back for you to complete that one quickly. Here we have Nuto Bibini Nuto. He is the campaign manager, Johnnie Aryeetey 2017. And they have also addressed a letter to the election committee of the GJA for prompt action. He's on the line. Let's hear from him. Nuto, good to have you online.
Yes, Becky, how are you doing?
I'm good, and how about you?
I'm fine by grace of God. My greetings to Sadiq, my comrade, and to yourself and to our millions of our viewers and listeners.
Thank you very much. But for the benefit of my viewers, can you share with us the content of the said letter and the allegations therein?
Well, I on behalf of the Johnnie Aryeetey 2017 team, which is poised for action and victory, God willing, by the close of this month, we wrote to the chairman of the 2017 Elections Committee of the GJA, Mr. Ben Asoro, to give us some information, which of course our intelligence on the ground was privy to. And I will share the 3 major points with you. One, we were requesting for a clear explanation on who constitutes the members of the GJA in good standing, because there was so much allegation on the ground that some people were targeted to have had their name deleted from the list of members in good standing. So we needed a clear outcome. 2, we also got wind of allegations that students of the GIJ were being handed GJA forms for them to fill quickly so that they can have their names in there for them to vote, ostensibly to keep the incumbent Affail Monney still in power. 3, we also were a bit worried that there was so much lack of information from the GJA 2017 Elections Committee 2 weeks, barely 2 weeks to elections. And that was so worrying because we didn't have a tentative lineup of events. We did not know who and who were supposed to have voted. We did not know where the polling centers should have been. We did not know who and who should constitute polling agents, blah, 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 blah. So these were the main things that we were worried about. And we demanded the following: a full list of GJA members in good standing, and we needed it region by region. 2, we also demanded detailed rules and regulations on elections 2017, and 3, details of various election centers, polling agents for each candidate, and any other information needed for a free, fair, and peaceful election. Remember, as journalists as we are the 4th estate of the political realm. We keep an eagle eye, a never sleeping eye, on the 3 arms of government to ensure that you and I, who are both taxpayers, our monies are being put to judicious use to the benefit of the ordinary man. Now, if we have doubt in our own association, well, I can tell you for a fact that there are so many things that have gone on under Affail Monney's GJA, and for which there have been that hue and cry for him to leave. Okay. So that we can have, hold it. So that we can have a credible candidate like Johnnie Aryeetey to take GJA forward, to make it credible again, to make it clean again, so that when people win awards, once their monetary values will be given to them. Many people have won awards under Affail Monney, and their monies that are due them have not come.
Okay, is that contained in your petition to the adjudication body?
Well, this is just one of the numerous undercurrents that underpins our petition. Okay. Now get this clear. Let me make this clear to you. Within these few days, in less than 2 weeks, because of our letter, in less than 2 weeks, we have had 3 different lists of members in good standing. Before the vetting of the candidate, we had a list of 922 members in good standing. Just for the vetting, we have had another list on the website which we printed, and it was made up of 988 members of the GJA in good standing. Now, just as our letter went, the new list that has come, as of yesterday, constitutes 456 members. Just in 2 weeks, how can we have 3 different
All right,
lists?
so how expedient do you want the election committee or the adjudicating committee to act on these matters so that we can have our election free from all these allegations?
The Ben Asoro Committee, Elections Committee, should take a cue from what the National Electoral Commission did. They maintained cool heads. They did what was right. They declared a very free and fair election result that saw a smooth transfer of power from John Mahama to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We want them to take a cue from this. We want them to do the right thing. We cannot have 3 lists. because we believe very strongly that given the list that we have, Graphic Communications Group has 91 members, New Times Corporation has 32 members, Ghana News Agency has 73 members, and GBC, the single largest group, has 49 members. And if you look deep into this list, you will find out that people who are on pension, they have their names on. And those who are seriously working, whose dues are being deducted monthly, are not on the list.
Okay. They
are not on the list. If Titi Anefe does not have her name on the list, if Vincent Jacha of Ghanaian Times doesn't have his name on the list, if Abdul Hai Mumin does not have his name on the list, and we have people who have gone on pension, there are more answers to be given than too many questions. We are saying that we remain resolute in our conviction that if you enter the GJA premises, there is one clear, visible inscription on the wall, written by a famous American journalist, which states, and I quote, "There can never be freedom of the press if the journalist exists in poverty, corruption, and fear," unquote.
Great. I think that will end our conversation due to time.
As it stands now, Becky, every member of the GJA is living in some amount of fear. Some, which we believe is true, are corrupt, judging from what is happening.
Okay, those are allegations until it is proven with evidence. So, Bibini, I think we would have to end the conversation here. Good having you on the line. Nuto Bibini Nuto is the campaign manager for Johnnie Aryeetey 2017, vying for GJA president. Right, Sunny, do you have your name on the list of journalists in good standing?
Unfortunately, my name is not on the list, but I'm here to ascertain the facts of the matter. Okay. So from here, I'm going straight to the press center to find out why my name is not there. Exactly. But I have some questions to ask before I get there, so I don't go there and make a mockery of myself.
Great. Great.
But, I mean, what is happening is quite disturbing. If Nuto's allegations is anything to go by, I think the associations should set an example to so many other associations and institutions all over the country. The right things would have to be done because we know the value of journalism. In recent years, we have had the standards falling dramatically. Journalists lately are so interested in a speech read on his behalf, the minister called on stakeholders kind of stories. We don't go behind the headlines. Recently, we have had issues with the spate of suicides in the country, but we just maintain we maintain the status quo. We don't go beyond the headlines to find out the facts of the matter. What is happening? Are they really suicides? Could it be that we have a murderer or a serial killer on the loose? And it is very normal that in order to cover their tracks, they make it look like, in some cases, suicides. Unfortunately, we have many police officers who are first responders who have not been trained on forensics. They've not been trained on how to analyze crime scenes, how to protect it from being contaminated. Recently, I saw a picture of a victim of a suicide who was touched by a police officer who had apparently come to ascertain the facts of the matter or to carry out an investigation of some sort. He wasn't in gloves, so they contaminate the crime scene, and this is quite worrying. And I have personally on my Facebook page and other platforms raised issues with the fact that it's important we look behind the headlines to find out if really they are suicides, or perhaps we could have a murder on the loose.
Okay, I don't know whether we have more time, whether my producers would want us to take in few calls. I don't know about that, but can we take few calls? If we can, then our number will be on the screen soon, 0501 552 729. We'll take one or two of the calls, then we end the program. Please, when you call us, kindly lower the volume on your set. We are there. Let's show the number on our screen so that viewers can call in quickly. If you have anything to say on the GJ elections, you have anything to say about our first discussion on the Kintampo Waterfall disaster and how we need to maintain a safety audit of all our tourist sites, why not? We will be glad to hear from you. And still, if you have any messages to send us, please do by 02444754422. Our line that you can call activated is 0501 552 729. Great. Adam, let's wrap up on this. If we will get any calls, fine. But
it all boils down to the falling standards in journalism. Indeed, even in Western countries, we see media houses that are liberal, others are left, others are right, others are center-left and all that. But despite that, they exercise the greatest deal of professionalism in carrying out their stories. Unlike what is happening here, it's so skewed, and the information that gets to the public is not always holistic, it's not always true. And when it happens, the people lose trust and confidence in the media, and even if you're telling the truth, they might not take you serious. So it is my hope that the new president who will be coming in the face of all this controversy, allegations and counter-allegations, takes the issue of the falling standards in the media landscape very seriously. Media houses that are thought to be doing the wrong thing, inciting violence, would need to be sanctioned appropriately. We have had people talk about it, but nothing on the ground concretely has been done. Even I'm sure the GJ would also have to harness their relationship with the National Media Commission. They shouldn't work in isolation like we had in the past with the issues of the intelligence gathering agencies in the country. We had the BNI doing their own thing, national security doing their own thing, the police intelligence unit, the military intelligence unit, all in isolation doing their own things. But now with the formation of the National Security Ministry, we would have them all come together and share information, share intelligence to ensure that we are safe. So it's always similarly important in this case that the GJ and the National Media Commission and other organizations that has directly or indirectly anything to do with the media share information. They should harness their relationship, and in the end we should be able to do a good job.
Okay, Wisdom from Medina is on the line. Hello, Wisdom. Good to have you on the Reporters Roundtable.
Hello, Becky.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, calling to commend you for this program.
Thank you.
And I like the way you just handled the last person who called in to make allegations against the DGA. I think it is also incumbent to also, for now, you have two campaign managers speaking for two of the candidates who are vying for the presidency. And I wish you could have somebody from the DGA to also comment or react to some of the allegations that are flying around.
Yeah, sir, not to catch you, but I don't know which part of the program you started watching, but the truth of the matter is that I have contacted Mr. Roland Affail Monney. He actually gave us this day so that we could have them share their visions with us. That is Mr. Roland Affail Monney and Mr. Johnnie Aryeetey, who has qualified through the vetting, so they can speak to us on this platform. But Mr. Roland Monney was not able to come, and so the other parties saw that no, it will be an undue advantage for him to be here so that he will be speaking about his vision without the incumbent president. And again, I also contacted Mr. Benedict Asoro, who is the chairman of the election committee. I've had talks with him severally, and he has said that their committee have resolved not to talk to the media and clear all the allegations and the rumors until they deal with all the submissions that have been forwarded to them through the adjudication body. So that is the information out there.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think
Oh, I think we lost wisdom there, but thank you very much for calling. Do we have anybody else on the line so that we, I think my time is up. I'm being signaled. Do we have anybody else on the line? But this one says, good morning. What is your take on the allegations so far? There are a number of things flying around these GJ elections. The media, who is the fourth estate of the realm, should have their ass cleaned. Otherwise, they open themselves for legal tussle. You remember what happened in Madame Charlotte Osei's case when she told those who have been disqualified that they can go to court. You know how it ended up. So the GJ should take a cue because they are the voice of the voiceless, so they cannot do otherwise. And this one is from Baba Otu Ado. Thank you, Baba. We have somebody on the line from Accra. Can we hear you? Hello. Good to have you.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam.
Yes.
Let me acknowledge your producers for a good program, a nice concept there, very educated, communicating, and more than the average Ghanaian. Yes, my contribution or my understanding with your elections is that there was a publication, the demographic, of members who are in good standing. Now, if there's a third list, does that mean that demographic led the whole country into ransom by giving us such a list? Because demographic is a credible newspaper. I believe so. I stand to be corrected. If it's not a national newspaper, that is authentic. That gives us the relevant information as we Ghanaians need to depend on. But now, if DJ is telling us that demographic, we can't trust it again, then that is fine. But I stand to be corrected that if we base on if I base my argument on demographic, then please, let's redefine journalism again. And then let's redefine our association that we all belong to. Because then I thought that demographic has betrayed journalists and also betrayed the nation. Because it gives us a publication of members who are in good standing. So if people want to maneuver their way, they should know that if God does not build a house, then the builder does it in vain. And you shouldn't also forget that horses are prepared for battle, but victory is from the Lord. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your name again and where you were calling us
My
from?
name is Kwame Kwache.
Good, Mr. Kwache. But I guess you wouldn't blame Daily Graphic too much. Bear in mind the source of the list that they produce. Who gave them that list and how come they produce it? Because what they got is what they produced. With list, you can't actually do fact-checking and cross-checking and cross-checking because once it's coming from a credible source, you think you can publish it. So please don't blame them too much. Thank you, Mr. Kwache. Great. The conversation is becoming very, very, very interesting, but unfortunately, my time is up. Adib, do we have somebody else on the line? I don't think so. Adib, let me have your last take. Your final take, then we close. How expedient do you want this whole issue is resolved?
Yeah, it is my hope that we don't have it go to the law courts and getting so protracted and perhaps delaying the whole process. We need leadership for the Ghana Journalists Association because we're confronted with a litany, with a convolution of some challenges that needs to be addressed as soon as possible because it only adds to the gains that we have made in other sectors to consolidate our democracy. So this is not time for allegations and counter-allegations, controversy and all that. I think we have to set an example as the fourth estate of the realm and do the right thing. In the end, the truth would always prevail. I've had people get in touch with me to tell me, because you are a security analyst, you have to be neutral in your analysis. But I don't believe in neutrality. I believe in the truth, because the truth is only one, and in the end, it starts, as Vandals say.
Truth stands. Right, so that has been it. But remember that he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. If you want to come to equity, then you have to do equity. And you should have been considered not to have done any wrong. So the program was proudly sponsored by ATL, bringing fabrics to life. The finishing of this beautiful cloth by ATL is by Ashrifia Way in Adentang Goyle Filling Station. My name is Rebecca Ewa, and the show was produced by Phyllis Kofi, Max Isu, and Celestina V. We looked at the Kintampo Waterfall disaster, the need for safety audit of all tourist sites. Then we crossed carpet to the Ghana Journalists Association and talked about the 2017 GJA election and the controversy that has come up. Follow us on Twitter at RoundtableGH, at Rebecca Iwa, like our Facebook page and all other social media platforms of the Reporters Roundtable. Thank you all. We are out. Thank you, our viewers, for sending your messages and also for calling into the program. We will see you. God bless.